There's disappointment.
Hi everyone. So my name is Charlie Lee. I'm creator of Litecoin. I also currently work at Coinbase. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the history of Litecoin. Most people have learned about Bitcoin recently, and they don't know about all the history of the altcoins. Basically, the altcoin movement started in 2011, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. So first of all, what is Litecoin? Has everyone heard of what Litecoin is? Who hasn't? Okay, a few of you. So Litecoin is an open source fork of Bitcoin. There's few changes. It has 4 times the total number of coins, so there's 84 million as opposed to Bitcoin's 21 million. It's 4 times faster in terms of transaction times. So blocks confirm on average every 2.5 minutes, whereas Bitcoin it's 10 minutes. And it uses different proof of work. So Bitcoin uses SHA-256D, and Litecoin uses a script proof of work. And Litecoin is coined as silver to Bitcoin's gold. It was launched in October 2011, and it currently is worth about 1850. I think it's pretty volatile today. It's about 500. I had to change this every time I talk about it. Same for Bitcoin, but and about $500 million market cap. So first of all, a few frequently asked questions. People ask me, am I Satoshi? No, I'm not Satoshi, but some people refer to me as Satoshi Light. Is Litecoin the first altcoin? It actually is not the first altcoin. There has been about 10 altcoins before Litecoin, and I'll talk about them in a little bit. And did Litecoin introduce script mining? Actually, it didn't introduce script mining. There's a coin called Tenebricks that first came out with script mining. So let's talk about altcoins before Litecoin. These are the main ones before Litecoin. I'm sure most of you heard of Namecoin. There was Xcoin, IOCoin, Solidcoin. You guys get all Tenebricks, Tenebricks. So I'll go through a little bit over each one so you get an idea what happened before Litecoin. So Namecoin introduced the concept of decentralized DNS, right? So where you can register .bit domain names using Namecoins. The problem with Namecoin is it didn't really, it's not sure if people aren't sure if it's really like a DNS or if it's a currency, like why are Namecoins worth anything. And one of the problems with Namecoin is it uses the same proof of work, SHA-256D as Bitcoin. And what that meant was that miners had to choose whether they want to mine Bitcoin or Namecoin. So since the difficulty in Namecoin is separate from Bitcoin, when it was more profitable to mine Namecoin, people would all mine Namecoin. Not all of them, but a lot of the Bitcoin miners would start mining Namecoin. And then all of a sudden, when Namecoin difficulty changes in 2 weeks, people jump away and start mining Bitcoin because it wasn't worth it to mine Namecoin. And that left Namecoin at a really high difficulty with very few miners. So so it was like a roller coaster difficulty where it was really hard to mine, really easy, really hard, and got to such an extreme that at one point it took like 5 months for Namecoin to get to the next difficulty change instead of 2 weeks, because the people mining Namecoin were all just hardcore Namecoin users, and they were mining Namecoin at a loss instead of mining Bitcoin. So they had to introduce something called merge mining, which means that Namecoin is mined alongside Bitcoin, and that kind of also hurt the coin because it made Namecoin become like a byproduct of Bitcoin. Then something came along. Someone by the name of Thomas Nasakyoto created Xcoin, and he's just his name is just an anagram of Satoshi Nakamoto. And one thing he did was he pre-mined 580,000 coins, and he claimed he was going to use it for software development, but people just didn't like the concept of pre-mining, because every time you support the coin, you're purchasing the coin, the guy who just created it has 580,000 and get it up on the market when it's on exchange. So there was movement behind it. People started wanting to create a fork of Xcoin with zero pre-mine, and that's where IOCoin came. The O stands for zero. It's a horrible name. You don't really know how to pronounce it. You see it, And without a lot of developer support, it didn't really go anywhere. And then there was Solidcoin, created by someone called Real Solid, also anonymous. It had innovated faster block times of 3 minutes blocks. And one thing it tried to do was fix fees, but it didn't realize that the reason why Bitcoin had dynamic fees is because it's trying to prevent spam. Right? So you want to charge people more for creating larger transactions that kind of cost more on the network, right? So because of its fixed fees, because of fixed fees on Solidcoin, it got attacked with a lot of spam transactions, and the creator actually had to shut it down and relaunch Solidcoin 2. But Solidcoin 2, he decided, screw it, he's going to make it centralized. So he made it so that every other block had to be mined by him or one of his friends. That obviously didn't really fly with most people, so that coin didn't really go anywhere either. And then there was Geistgeld. It was kind of an experimental coin. Someone was experimenting with having really fast block times, so it was 15 seconds per block. And it kind of didn't really work because the blocks were so fast and you get so many orphans that people were just working on stale blocks all the time. And it wasn't, so it actually felt, the coin actually made people aware that really fast transaction times doesn't scale. And then he also released Tenebricks, which is the first one that introduced script mining. So script is a memory hard proof of work, so it makes it harder for newer generations of hardware to be a lot more efficient than the previous generation. So GPU mining script is like CPU mining SHA-256 is like 100 times more efficient. But with script, it's only about 10 times, I think. And then another problem with Tenebricks is he pre-mined 7.7 million coins for himself. And he was supposed to use these he was building a laundry service out of it where you would, if you have tainted coins you want to launder, you would send the tainted coins to him and he would send you clean coins from his stash of 7.7 million coins. People didn't really trust them. They didn't like the fact that it was pre-mined. And so Fairbricks was launched, kind of a fair Tenebricks. The problem with Fairbricks is it was built on top of Multicoin. And Multicoin is a Bitcoin software that lets you build any kind of alternate currency on top. And Multicoin had various bugs and caused Fairbricks to kind of just stumble out of the gate and had a lot of issues. So this is when Litecoin was created. So why would I want to create another Litecoin? So one of the reasons why I created Litecoin was it was an exclusive range of Bitcoin code. So at that time I was playing around with the code. I was really interested in the alternative currencies, played around with them and decided that I can actually do something better. What was out there were coins created by people who were kind of greedy, wanted to mine a bunch for themselves and then try to strike a rich by launching it. And I can also combine a lot of the good things with all the other coins and create something that's actually better. And in the end, it was just fun. I had a blast creating it. So how did I design Litecoin? So I invested in gold because I believe in gold as a kind of store of value. And I saw the interaction between silver and gold, how people like invest in both silver and gold. So I wanted to create silver to Bitcoin's gold. And that's how I came up with the idea. So I wanted to create something, and I named it Litecoin because I want to create something that's lighter. So in terms of light, it's 4 times as many coins. It's also faster. So it feels, sending Litecoin transaction feels simpler and feels lighter. And I also want to make sure that it's a fair launch. I didn't want to pre-mine anything. I realized that people don't like greedy creators pre-mining coins. So I pre-announced it, similar to Bitcoin. I launched it and made sure everyone can start mining at the beginning. And one other thing I realized is, in order for all currency to be successful, you really have to use a different proof of work. Because if you're using the same proof of work as like Bitcoin, then you're always competing for the same miners, and it's hard for your coin to kind of flourish because you're just another way for Bitcoin miners to make money. So Script was an obvious choice. Bitcoin and Litecoin at the same time. And then I made sure to keep everything else exactly the same as Bitcoin. I didn't want to change something just for the sake of changing it. Satoshi was brilliant in creating Bitcoin, and there's no reason to change anything unless there's no good reason to change most of what he did. And then developing Litecoin is actually pretty simple. I mean, the hardest part was actually generating the Genesis block. Satoshi did it, and he didn't really have code out there that does it because he only did it once. So there was no easy way to learn how to generate Genesis block. So once I figured out how to do that, the rest is pretty simple. Changing the address to make sure it starts with L. One of the interesting things is the 4-time transaction speed and the 4-time total coin actually works together, because all I had to do was make block times 4 times faster and kept the generation curve the same as Bitcoin. Every 4 years it halves, and that would just lead to 4 times the number of coins, just because it's 4 times faster. And it took 2 weeks of planning, but in terms of coding, it only took about 4 hours of coding. So one thing about launching Litecoin, I want to make sure it's really fair. So what I did was, I actually released the source and binary to everyone before the launch. So the Genesis block was created by me, but it was withheld. So only the hash of the Genesis block is inside the source code. And I withheld 2 key parameters so that you can't really mine on the real chain if you have the source or the binary. You can only mine on testnet until I actually launch those parameters. So the launch date was decided by a forum vote, make sure everything was fair. And I think hundreds of thousands of people started running the Litecoin client, testing out their system, make sure everything's working properly. And when I actually launched it, all they had to do was add those 2 lines to the config file and restart Litecoin D, and then Litecoin would just start mining on the actual blockchain. So that's what happened. During when I launched it, I pasted this on IRC and also on the forums, and lots of people jumped in. I mined the first couple blocks, and then the next block I got was like 20 something, and the next block I got was like in the hundreds. Pretty much like everyone jumped in, and I didn't manage to get a lot of blocks, sadly. So yeah, so it's 0 pre-mined, or almost 0, because I actually had to mine 2 blocks to make sure everything was working. And then I guess the rest is history. So GPU script mining came out after about a year, and then it actually reached $1 billion market cap. And last year it had 300 times the price increase and 100 times difficulty increase. And it actually, the price of Litecoin actually increased more than Bitcoin last year. Bitcoin only had about a 50 times price increase, so Litecoin increased on top of Bitcoin by 6 times. Which is pretty crazy, because it's 4 hours of coding, right? And when I launched Litecoin, Bitcoin was worth about, I think, only $100 million or less. So, and Litecoin today is worth like $500 million. So it's pretty crazy. So why did Litecoin succeed? I mean, it only took me 4 hours to write this up. Why did it succeed? So when Coinbase hired me, Coinbase hired me 6 months ago. We did a blog post about how Coinbase hired the creator of Litecoin. And then on Reddit, someone posted, did Coinbase need an expert at copy pasting? So that kind of hurt. And then below that, someone posted, let's see you copy paste the coin to $200 million market cap. Right? So it's not that easy, right? So, and then I really had to respond to that. So I'm the first to admit Litecoin didn't succeed because of its technical merits. I mean, I went to MIT. I was at Google for 6 years. I'm at Coinbase now. Litecoin is definitely not the pinnacle of my technical achievements. But the reason why I succeeded is because it stole from all the other altcoins. And people, it was Picasso that said, good artists copy, great artists steal. So Litecoin did steal everything from all the other altcoins before it. But what I made sure not to do is have all the bad stuff, or like bad code, lack of support, pre-mining, and just being greedy about things. So, and also, it had good marketing because of what I turned silver to Bitcoin's gold. And it's also easy name to remember. When you tell people about Litecoin, they remember it. When you tell people that silver to Bitcoin's gold, they sort of get it. They understand it's gold and silver. And yeah, and before you know it, people start talking about Litecoin being silver to Bitcoin's gold. And then it became silver to Bitcoin's gold just because I claimed it was silver, right? And then one thing, my brother, the CEO of BTC China, told me a few months ago. He said it was cool that I put it out there that Litecoin is silver to Bitcoin's gold, because once I put it out there, no other coin can actually come out and say their coin is silver to their coin is silver, right? Because obviously Litecoin is silver. So, but they can call themselves copper. But who the hell wants to be copper? So another reason why Litecoin succeeded is because it was fair. People just didn't like free money, and they didn't like to support someone who will get rich because they use your coin. And also script helped people were able to mine and support a coin and also support Bitcoin at the same time. And then also had good developer support. So I was supporting Litecoin along the way. And Litecoin got attacked also with transaction spam. I was quickly able to deal with it. And then recently, Warren Pagani joined the team. He's now leading actually the Litecoin development team. He's he founded Fedora. You guys are aware of that. And he's done a really amazing job of helping Litecoin get up to speed with Bitcoin's source code. Future of Litecoin. So obviously we're going to keep up with upstream changes. We want to keep our Lite goal. So working on creating multiple Litecoin wallets, the SPV wallets like that. We recently released an Android wallet, and then working on an Electrum wallet, multi-bit wallet, and so on. And then one thing about Litecoin, the way for Litecoin to succeed, it's pretty clear. It's just like Bitcoin, the end game is merchant support, right? If you have merchants accepting both Bitcoin and Litecoin, similar to how merchants are accepting Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, then you've succeeded, right? So in order to get merchants, you need companies like BitPay, Coinbase, Goldcoin, which actually does have Litecoin support, to support the coin so that merchants can cash out of their Bitcoins or Litecoins without any risk to the volatility. And then you obviously need big exchanges like Mt. Gox, CDA, Bitstamp. Well, okay. Yeah. So you need exchanges for users to actually get in and out of Litecoin. And you have a call. Questions?
Yeah, if you wanted to acquire some Litecoin, what are the most liquid and fairest exchanges out there that handle?
The most liquid exchange by far, I think, is BTCE. I think OKCoin in China also is pretty good, but I haven't used it.
Their fee is very high.
Fees are very high for what?
Okay, cool.
Oh, really? So they weren't like zero fees for a while?
Oh, well, for a while they were high. I
Okay.
think when you move money in now.
Yeah, so you get, unfortunately, there's no really good way to get Litecoin from US dollar, like straight away. I think you can wire US dollar to BTCE, but you have to get like verified, and there's a lot of processes to go through. And a lot of people don't trust BTCE. So, but exchange, if you have Bitcoin, you transfer to BTC, it's pretty easy to just exchange and transfer out your Litecoins without a lot of problems.
Are there any attempts to add smart contracts to Litecoin, kind of like Ethereum or BitShares or Mastodon?
No plans right now, and I'm always like on top of these things. I think there's a lot of interesting innovation in this area, so possible, but no plans right now.
I'm just wondering how it works. Obviously, these currencies being decentralized and all that, but the development team almost holds a bit of power in a way because they can change the.
They do. It's just like Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. So if you could just explain more how Bitcoin and Litecoin, like how do you come to a decision to change, and how do you think about whether it's good or bad and all these things?
Yeah, it's kind of strange, because for Litecoin, it's mainly just Warren and me talking about stuff, whether or not we wanna go ahead and make some changes. And, in the end, we do have some power, but we don't have ultimate power. Because if you wanna change something really drastic, and the users don't like it, they can support another development team that's doing something, more in line with the user, what the users want.
On
So for-
Litecoin or different currency?
On Litecoin,
Oh, okay.
right, they can put Litecoin
Oh, I see, yeah,
and
yeah.
take it a better way. Like, for example, if the government comes to me and say, you have to put some kind of like KYC into the coin. Like you have to register, whenever you have an address, you have to register your name, social security number in the blockchain. If I put that in there, no one's gonna use it. Someone's gonna fork Litecoin without it, and then everyone's gonna use that.
So just to add on, so is it basically whatever development team can get the most clients installed?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
You need, you need client support, you need exchange support, right, you need it. So, you don't wanna make a decision where you will fork the blockchain, right? So you always have to keep that in mind. Cause having a forked blockchain is really bad for everyone. Cause then you have like the old Litecoin versus the new Litecoin, if one exchange supports the old Litecoin, the other exchange supports the new Litecoin, and what's really a Litecoin worth, right?
So the roller coaster problem you described when you have two currencies that are running the same algorithm, but are very different in value, could that be solved by just having continuous retargeting of the difficulty?
Yeah, some coins these days come out with some innovation in terms of continuous retargeting. There might be bugs with that, I don't know if any, I haven't really looked into the algorithm, but yeah, if you do continuous retargeting, that'll solve it.
How ready all these APIs are for me to create, real apps? If I'm, full stack developer, can you assess how ready all this code base is?
What do you mean?
Like, let's say you want to make, eBay based on coins. Is all the existing code and API actually ready for me to just go and use the ready-to-use infrastructure and, concentrate only on the main functionality, not on the coding details?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Bitcoin, right? So you can use the Bitcoin D or Litecoin D as the backend, and you can enter it to create addresses and send them receive coins, right? Or you can write your own.
So what's the comment on proof of work and proof of stake, these kind of trade-offs?
So proof of stake is where if you have more coins, then you can mine the next block and you get rewarded. So people with more coins the richer will get richer, and that's what people don't like about proof of stake. But where proof of stake actually is good is that you can't really attack it unless you have a lot of coins yourself. So the idea is that if you have a lot of coins, you're not going to want to attack the coin because you're going to destroy your own wealth. So there's definitely some benefit for proof of stake, but yet to see if that will succeed.
Can you explain, and this I guess is a bit theoretical and probably a dumb question, but why the eventual size of the blockchain is never going to be a problem 100 or 1,000 years down the road?
I honestly don't know. So when Satoshi designed Bitcoin, he figured Moore's law will continue, so storage space will be cheaper and cheaper, network will be faster, so it's just going to grow faster than the actual blockchain growth. So I actually can't tell you whether or not it's going to happen, whether or not it's going to be a problem. But one thing about having other alternative currencies is they can share the load for the blockchain, so people can use Bitcoin for certain transactions, like or for other transactions, and even another currency for another transactions. So I can imagine a world where you would use Bitcoin to buy like cars or houses, and then use Litecoin to buy like coffees and drinks and stuff. So it's possible to share that.
I guess I have a similar question about post-2020 when the supply of Bitcoin is fixed and there's less incentive for mining Bitcoins. How is the integrity of the network going to be maintained then?
So, yeah, fees. So when it approaches 2020, more and more of the reward will come from fees, and less of the reward come from the actual block reward. So when it actually gets to 2020, all the incentives will come from fees. So it will slowly, gradually change from block reward to fees.
I guess no one knows right now, but theoretically, that will be enough incentive in order to maintain a short time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there is, if Bitcoin or Litecoin, if it's really popular, there's gonna be a lot of people using it, and then there's gonna be a lot of fees. So, one of the things the developers have to do is make sure that you set the fees high enough or low enough, so that, the incentives are there for the miners. I mean, Bitcoin or even Litecoin, we can keep the fees at zero if we want, right? But then in the end, the incentives won't be there to mine, and the blockchain will be insecure, and then there we go.
Just curious about yourself, if Litecoin is used in science fiction.
Say it again?
If Litecoin is used in the science fiction, how people are going to use it? Like what's your imagination with the Litecoin in 20 years or 30 years?
What's my imagination like? I don't know. I honestly don't know what's gonna happen in 20 years. If you ask me about what the price of Litecoin would be, last year you asked me what I think the price of Litecoin would be this year, and I said if it hits like $5, I'm gonna be extremely happy.
And what is it now?
18? Yeah, it hit 50 at one point, which is
Wow.
kind of ridiculous.
So when is Coinbase going to support Litecoin?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that before.
I should ask them.
So Coinbase it's very easy for Coinbase to support Litecoin. One of the things Coinbase doesn't want to do is it doesn't want to confuse its user. So it's already hard enough to explain Bitcoin to someone. If you throw Litecoin, all the other coins out there at someone, then it gets confusing. And Litecoin is also really small compared to Bitcoin. So as Litecoin grows and more and more people use it, then there's more and more demand. I mean, a lot of Litecoin supporters write into Coinbase asking, when are you going to support it, when are you going to support it? So at one point it will make sense for Coinbase to support Litecoin. And right now, one of the problems with Litecoin is there's not a lot of big exchanges, so it's hard for Coinbase to offload the volatility at an exchange. I mean, you could use BTCE, but it's very risky because BTCE is run by an anonymous group. They're not willing to come out to say who they are, so it's really hard to trust that they're not going to all of a sudden walk away with all your money. So.
Just curious, what do you think of Dogecoin, and particularly what didn't you know for the size of the
So Dogecoin is very interesting. When I first heard of it, I thought it was a joke. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But it kind of like people were supporting it. It was really popular. It was getting tipped all the time. It's kind of built on top. Like it became something interesting. I thought the fact that the number of coins that keep growing was like a mistake by the developer. Is that right? Yeah. So it's kind of arbitrary. He just decided to let it be and let it grow. So I'm not sure what would happen. I haven't thought too much about it. But one thing about Dogecoin is it's popular because people don't take it seriously. But when the value grows, those people will actually have to take it seriously because it'll be worth a lot. So it's kind of an oxymoron because people want to succeed, but when it'll be just another Bitcoin and Litecoin, right? So it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Because I have more of an economics question in terms of the growth of the currency, because I mean, just looking at Keynesian principles, you want the currency to grow, to expand a bit faster than the economy, to keep a slight but lower rate of inflation. So Bitcoin and Litecoin, assuming continued, economic growth, it's by definition a deflationary currency. So just looking at the economics behind it, if it ends up replacing fiat currency, then we end up in a situation where there's no incentive to spend, so it goes into the whole idea of you don't want to have a deflationary economy if you want to have continued economic growth. So in terms of controlling the rate of growth for Bitcoin and Litecoin, do you think it was a good decision to, should it be a variable growth rate? But I know it can't happen anymore. But
So I'm a big believer in gold and silver. So that's why when I saw Bitcoin, I realized it's like really awesome because it's like gold but better in every way. So I'm not an economics expert, so I don't know if a currency based on like where it stops growing will actually be bad. But maybe it can work alongside US dollars. Similar to how gold and US dollars, people have store value in gold and people use the US dollar.
So as a commodity, like
Yeah,
you would
kind of.
have gold, you would have kind of virtual gold.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be replaced by fiat currencies completely, is that what you
I don't know what would happen, but it could work alongside fiat currency. And it's also, it's obviously a very, it's the easiest way to send money online, right? Or to anyone around the world. And you can't do it with US dollar or gold.
Great. Thanks, Charlie.
One other thing I want to announce, so Coinbase has like we're doing like a Bitcoin hackathon thing. We're calling it BitHack. So if you go to the website bithackathon.com, you can check it out. We're doing like a monthly online hackathon with prizes and everything. So check out bithackathon.com. And if you're interested in a job like Coinbase, come talk to me.